Earth and air and fire and water surround us with protective light. Earth and air and fire and water guard us with your magic might. Come, watchers, come and balance our circle. Come, watchers, come and balance our work. Come, watchers, come and strengthen our auras. Come, watchers, come and strengthen our work. Earth and air and fire and water. Earth and air and fire and water. Earth and air and fire and water. Well, greetings. This is Selena Fox, and I'm coming to you live from a new location in my home. I live in a forest in southwestern Wisconsin, USA, called the Driftless area. Why? Because the glaciers came around this section of Wisconsin throughout the glaciation of the Ice Age, came down and rejoined. They skipped this corner of Wisconsin. Why? It's a mystery. And I'm coming to you live from a part of my house known as the Cosmic Room. Yes, symbols of sun and moon and stars and planet Earth, we're part of that system, are in this room. And this is actually the guest room in my house. And I'm testing out the internet up here. And I can see from hearts and likes and comments, it seems like it's working. The nearest internet connection is 1 floor down, so this is an experiment. And why am I dressed up like this? Because I am doing a brand new workshop via podcast and Facebook live stream tonight, 7 p.m. That's Central Time, 8 p.m. on the East Coast of the USA, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And I'm going to talk about past lives and reincarnation. This is one of the instruments that I have played from time to time. It's called a melodica. And this is definitely 20th century America, where this came from. And the outfit I have was crafted by a good friend for me many years ago, 20 years ago, for my 50th birthday. I just turned 71. So a shout out to Heather Ockler for her wonderful costuming talents. At our Samhain gathering at Circle Sanctuary over the years, we have something called the Witches' Ball. And that's the Friday night of our weekend festival. And people get into costumes. And one of the ways that we could garb ourselves up is to come as ourselves in a past life. So that is why I am here in Ren Fair outfit garb. Now, there are a number of different notes and combinations of notes, fifths and fourths sound ancient because they were used by the ancients back in time. And some of the music that's come to us from the ancient pagan past, the Middle Ages, has continued to be with us in a variety of ways. Well, tonight I'm going to be talking a bit about past lives and various ways of looking at reincarnation. Is it part of your belief system? If so, how do you conceptualize it? Does one soul leave this life and immediately go into another life, or go into some kind of green room or holding tank until it is time to reincarnate again? Do humans reincarnate as creatures or plants or places? Do we have all of our lives simultaneous? Are past lives really part of consciousness and us diving deep within our psyche and tapping into humankind in various resonances over time and space? Well, those are a lot of things to explore. I'm not going to tell you the answer, but in my workshop tonight, I hope to share with you not only some ways of looking at reincarnation and past lives, but what I think is even more important, if that is part of your belief system, what are ways that you can connect with past lives and what you've learned in a past life and take that into our present day. And if you've had a trauma in a past life, how can you work through that and grow resilience as a result of your processing? Yes, I've done some past life therapy with clients over time. I have guided people on past life journeys, as has my husband. In fact, we have a CD that is available at the Circle Sanctuary Resources Shop on exploring past lives that my husband, Dr. Dennis Carpenter, who is a psychology professor, put together many years ago. He and I would travel around the USA and some other places and guide journeys, various kinds of inner journeys, and sometimes we would guide past life explorations together. So if you're interested in learning more about past lives and reincarnation, I invite you to tune in tonight. You can tune in live in two ways. On this platform, Selena Fox Updates, this is my main Facebook page, or you can go to CSNP, Circle Sanctuary Network Podcast. That's the name of Circle Sanctuary's internet radio network. And if you haven't done so already, head over to that page on Facebook, CSNP or CSN Podcast, P for podcast, and like the page, follow the page, and you'll not only get updates about the podcast that I'm doing, I do two every week, but those that are being done by other people who are part of Circle Sanctuary's podcasting team. And a shout out to Reverend Laura Gonzalez, who just got ordained as a Circle Sanctuary minister, and she watches over and updates our podcast network page. And a shout out to Reverend Casey Pope, who is our social media coordinator. And both of them, along with Brianne Ravenwolf and the magical harpist Maven Stone, are going to be with me for a very special event that we do every year, the Transgender Day of Remembrance. It's November 20th. This year it's Friday, and this year, due to the pandemic, it's online. So we will have an opportunity to join together this coming Friday at noon. I have with me my Transgender Day of Remembrance healing hoop, and you'll see the colors of pink, blue, and white colors from the transgender flag. You don't have to be transgender to take part in the Transgender Day of Remembrance observance. In fact, most of the people that take part are allies, but we also have people who are trans that have joined us in various ways every year. So find out more about this. Our page is going to get updated on the Circle Sanctuary website later today, I hope. But until then, know that you can watch it free. It's going to be publicly live streamed on YouTube, the Circle Sanctuary YouTube channel. And one of the things that we do every year is kindle candles and read the names of transgendered people that are no longer with us. Not only do we mourn their deaths, them being killed due to prejudice against trans people, but we find ways to connect together to work for a world that has equality, liberty, and justice for all. So what else is coming up? Well, you may have watched on the internet or maybe television or some other way, the USA has returned to having our astronauts go to the International Space Station via the Dragon. SpaceX and NASA collaborated. Yes, you might have remembered when we had a space shuttle program. I got this. When the space shuttle program was active, I got it from the Air and Space Museum of the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. Well, the space shuttle is now part of history, but making history just in the last few days is the SpaceX Dragon. And I had a wonderful time watching the astronauts get suited up, get on the Dragon capsule, watch the launch, watch the connection with the International Space Station. And yes, that's off planet. There's a lot of stuff going on the Earth that is of concern, but I think it's important during these pandemic times in particular that we find things to celebrate. So a shout out to the Dragon crew and to Mission 64, all of the folks up on the International Space Station. If you're a fan of Star Trek, like I am, you may celebrate the diversity that happened with this mission. And yes, Star Trek back in the 1960s had diversity with their crew. Well, I'm glad that is happening in space exploration. So what else is happening that I'll be doing on Sunday? My other podcast is Nature Mystic, and I will be continuing my series of elemental healing workshops. This will be Healing with Sacred Fire. And what I'd like to share with you now before signing off is an oldie but goodie. It is a folk song, and it has had quite a journey over time. There was a song written by Alan Bell called Windmill. So the tune of this song comes from that older folk song, 20th century. And a woman by the name of Gwendolyn Lee Zach created pagan words to windmill. And in the 1970s, it was a popular song in the science fiction fandom realms and in many different places where people would sing folk songs, which were sometimes called filk songs. Well, it got an additional verse by Anne Cass that actually took this whole wonderful song of planet. And one more layer of change and adaptation. I have added a few different words to this song to be more universal. In days gone by, when the world was much younger, folk wondered at spring, born of winter's cold knife, wondering at the games of the moon and the sunlight. They saw the Lady and Lord of all life. Around and around and around turns the good earth, and all things must change as the seasons go by. We are waiting to reap of the rich golden harvest, knowing earth's laughed in the joys that they shared. Around and around and around turns the good earth, and all things must change as the seasons go by. We are the kinfolk of the Lord and the Lady, whose mysteries we know, yet will never know why. Through Flanders and Wales and the green lands of Ireland and realms of England and Scotland and Spain, circles grew up all along the wild coastlines and worked for the land with the sun and the rain. And around and around and around turns the good earth, and all things must change as the seasons go by. We are the kinfolk of the Lord and the Lady, whose mysteries we know, yet will never know why. Circles for healing and working the weather, circles for knowing the moon and the sun, circles for thanking the Lord and the Lady, circles for dancing the dance never done. Around and around and around turns the good earth, and all things must change as the seasons go by. We are the kinfolk of the Lord and the Lady, whose mysteries we know, yet will never know why. And we who reach for the stars in the heavens, turning our eyes from the meadows and groves, still live in the love of the Lord and the Lady. The greater the circle, the more the love grows. Around and around and around turns the good earth. All things must change as the seasons go by. We are the kinfolk of the Lord and the Lady, whose mysteries we know, yet will never know why. Join me. Around and around and around turns the good earth, and all things must change as the seasons go by. We are the kinfolk of the Lord and the Lady, whose mysteries we know, yet will never know why. The song Circles, adapted by Selena from Gwendolyn and Anne from Alan, who had the melody and some words that got recycled into this song. So one of a variety of songs from the not too far distant pagan past. Thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't already checked out the Circle Sanctuary YouTube channel, I invite you to do that. And I have a YouTube channel too, Selena Fox. And for those of you interested in some good news from people of many different faith traditions and cultures, there was a convergence on Monday via Zoom from around the state of Wisconsin. I was part of this. I was part of the planning committee, and I was one of the speakers at this multi-faith press conference. And why did we do a press conference? And why were there people who were Christian, Native American, Buddhist, Jewish, Muslim, and people from a variety of different faith traditions? Why were all these religious leaders gathered together in Zoom? Why was I with them? Because we feel it is really important that we go beyond the partisan politics, not only in the U.S., but other parts of the world. Take a look at the need for public health measures to stop the spread of the pandemic. We each spoke from our own traditions and our own ways. And if you're interested in seeing the video of this press conference, you can go to Wisconsin Eye. That is the political nonprofit video service, streaming service. So it got streamed out on a political channel, and it got streamed out on the Wisconsin Council of Churches channel. And I have a link to the recording on my Selena Fox updates page. So if you would like to see people from many different beliefs and cultures and races and organizations coming together for common purpose, well, I invite you to take some time out and see us working together, each of us speaking in our own way, calling for people to join together to stop the spread of the pandemic, and not only wearing masks, practicing social distancing. In Wisconsin, we say 6 feet, but sometimes we say stay the length of a cow away, and washing hands, not gathering in large groups. In fact, in many places, it's not safe to gather in groups, even small groups. So it's really important that we find ways to take responsibilities to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe and to contribute to that larger effort. And why else did we do the press conference? To give some encouragement to the Wisconsin elected officials, in particular our legislature, to get it together and help the people who are being harmed by the pandemic, and to get some uniform public health measures in place. And so a shout out to all of those who are working together to try to bring about a good healing response to this pandemic. Healing blessings to all of you who have COVID, to have loved ones who have COVID. Support to you who've lost loved ones to COVID. Support to all of you on the front lines of the COVID pandemic. May we all be safe. May we all be well. Whatever our religion, whatever our philosophy, whatever our culture, wherever we are in the world or off planet, may we all work together to bring about a healthier way of being with each other and that greater circle of nature of which we are all part. Thanks for tuning in and helping me test drive this new location in my home, and blessings to you from the cosmic room. Yes, paganism is sometimes called earth religion, but it also is a star religion depending on which form you're connecting with, which is why I usually call it nature religion and nature spirituality. For nature is not only what's happening here on planet Earth, but in our solar system, galaxy, and beyond in the universe. Cosmic blessings, much love.